Today marks a historic milestone as Ghana celebrates 68 years of independence. On this day in 1957, Ghana became the first sub-Saharan African nation to break free from colonial rule, paving the way for self-governance and inspiring liberation movements across the continent. Happy holiday and welcome to News Today. Stay with us as we bring you the latest updates and voices from across the country on this special occasion. We're live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. I'm Emefa Akosia Adeti, and we are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, government saves 19 billion Ghana cedis by hosting Independence Day at Jubilee House. President Mahama justifies cost-cutting move.
It is unconscionable to spend that kind of money on a few hours of celebration. Today's event would save us 95% of the estimated cost of the event.
We'll also bring you the people's perspective of Ghana's 68 years of independence.
South Africa for almost a do it almost a Friday, but almost
We shall take you around the regions to know how citizens are celebrating the Independence Day. But sadly, 3 dead, several injured as fire and explosions rock mining shops in KONONGO, Odumase. And again, sadly, a large part of Agaveji community in the Volta region has all gone beneath the sea due to continuous erosion. We'll bring you updates on how the Volta Regional Minister James Gunu spent the night outdoors with the victims of the tidal wave. Many thanks for choosing us this afternoon. Stay for details. President John Mahama has revealed that this year's Independence Day celebration would have cost the nation 20 million Ghana cedis. He says the government has been able to save 95% of the cost by deciding to hold the event at the Jubilee House instead of hosting the national event in another region. Speaking at the 68th Independence Anniversary celebration at the seat of government, he said that celebrating the event at the presidency does not diminish its significance in any way, but rather helps to save costs. He said it will be unconscionable to spend that amount, especially at the time when government workers have been asked to tighten their belts.
10 years ago, during the 58th Independence Anniversary, we implemented reforms to the annual Independence Day parade. This reform eased the burden of thousands of school children who march, sparing them from hours of standing in the scorching sun. They formed up on the parade ground only when it was time for their march past and presidential acknowledgement. A few years ago, the previous administration also implemented reforms, deciding to rotate the hosting of Independence Day celebrations among the regions of our country. This initiative was intended to bring the celebration closer to all our people. Unfortunately, this year we are constrained not only to interrupt the celebration's rotation amongst the regions, but also to hold it on a scaled-down version here at the forecourt of the presidency instead of the traditional Black Star Square. This is necessary considering the economic crisis our nation is currently experiencing. Large-scale celebrations often come with significant logistical, security, and infrastructure costs, which strain the national budget. By reducing the scale of the event, we wish to demonstrate a commitment to fiscal responsibility and the efficient use of our limited resources. Fiscal prudence has become imperative for navigating the severe economic crisis that has recently confronted our country. The state spent 15 million Ghana cedis on last year's celebration in Koforidua and spent 13.7 million cedis on the previous year's celebration in Ho in the Volta region. This year, we received estimates of at least 20 million Ghana cedis for holding the event at the Independence Square on the same scale as the previous years. In a year when we are calling on all to sacrifice, including workers who have graciously accepted a base pay adjustment far below the rate of inflation, it is unconscionable to spend that kind of money on a few hours of celebration. Today's event would save us 95% of the estimated cost of the event. Nonetheless, this scaled-down celebration does not diminish the importance and significance of this occasion in any way. Ghana's independence is the single most important event in our history, as it sets out us on the path of nationhood. It is even more significant because it lit the flame of independence in sub-Saharan Africa by inspiring other countries yoked to colonial exploitation to seek independence and self-determination. This day must therefore always be commemorated, but when reality calls for a different approach, we must heed it and act accordingly. Moreover, hosting the celebration here at the presidency preserves the symbolic essence of Independence Day while demystifying the seats of government.
Presidential correspondent Maxwell Agbagba joins us from the presidency with details on what has happened today. Maxwell, can you report who and who were present, and what more can you give us updates on?
So the special guest for the event was the former president of Tanzania, Jakaya Kikwete. He was a special guest of honor. Also in attendance, we had the former president John Ejikunkufo, former president Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We had top diplomats, the government chair, clergy, and more present at the Seat of Government, the Jubilee House, for the celebration. The celebration maintained its original format. President John Mahama arrived on the ground, accompanied by the mounted squadron of the Ghana Police Service. He was later accompanied by the DDS and the Inspector General of Police to inspect the parade, and then he later proceeded to the cenotaph to light the perpetual flame. We also had cultural performances and cultural displays from some of the students who were present. The only thing that was missing from today's celebration was the many school children who hitherto would stand, would be part of the parade march under the hot cotton sun. That was conspicuously absent today, as we had just a small number of police and military personnel who were on parade today.
Right. Maxwell, tell us about the president's passionate appeal for peace in Boko and other conflicted areas.
Yeah, President Mahama called for lasting peace in Boko and other conflict-affected areas. He stressed that the children of Boko deserve a peaceful land where their dreams nurtured, and urged the people not to be swayed by division. They have to all to give chance.
Oh, Maxwell, just a moment ago you were quite clear, but unfortunately I'm unable to hear you. Could you reposition yourself? Right, unfortunately I'm able to get more from Maxwell, but let's also bring you how the president has been talking about the Boko peace. Take a look.
My brothers and sisters, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah understood the essence of unity, not only in Ghana but on the entire African continent, when he said, and I quote, "The forces that unite us are inherently and far greater than the divisions imposed upon us." In the spirit of unity and brotherhood that this independence represents, I wish to speak directly to you, my brothers and sisters, in Boko and everywhere in our land where conflict is raging. I do not speak as president, but as your son and brother, in whose hands you have entrusted a solemn duty. The people of Boko and other areas, it is time for lasting peace to prevail. Our children deserve to inherit a peaceful land where their dreams are nurtured, not where their nightmares are relived. They deserve to inherit a land where our markets are bustling with trade, not tension and conflict. They deserve to inherit schools that echo with learning and not melancholy. Let us not be swayed by division, mistrust, and the weight of past injuries. Let us give renewal of friendship a chance. Let us give peace a chance. This is not an invitation to simply forget the past. Far from it. It is an invitation to live above it.
Meanwhile, some Ghanaians in the UK are also marking the Independence Day, celebrating with a flag hoisting ceremony. Let's take you live to the University of Bradford, where my colleague Samuel Lumura is standing by. Samuel, what's happening in the United Kingdom?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. We are also observing the independence celebration here at the University of Bradford. Bradford is actually in the northern part of England. This is actually a city that promotes cultural diversity, and the Ghanaian society is actually big and large here. So here are students and Ghanaian scholars abroad. They are commemorating the day with the hoisting of a flag at the University of Bradford campus, coupled with a naming of a tree on the campus of the University of Bradford as a symbol and an emblem of unity. The name of the tree is actually the Asunje tree, representing the tree of peace, which is to reflect the Ghanaian hospitality, the Ghanaian inherent trait of peacefulness, and also to serve as a reference point for future students who will come here to know that the Ghanaian is actually well represented here in Bradford and the University of Bradford. I have with me Professor Dankwa, who is one of our patrons, to talk to us briefly on this. Prof, thank you for joining us on the Joy News channel. We know today is a very significant day, and scholars abroad are keenly interested in activities back home. What is your message to Ghanaians listening to us this afternoon?
Thank you very much for having me this afternoon. Today is a significant day for Ghanaians across the world. It's today that our forefathers led a peaceful and very, very democratic independence day. And today we are here as scholars. Privilege to be here. How do we contribute to practice? 68 years of independence. However, Ghanaians are grappling with economic issues. As we are privileged to be in a land of opportunity, a land of exposure, a land that we can acquire knowledge and other methods. How do we bring these back home? That is what we have been telling our students. I'm a lecturer here, telling our students and our colleagues. How can we work with policymakers, government and community, and also how can we contribute meaningfully in achieving economic independence?
So, we know that we have the human resource, we have the human capital based in the UK and beyond. What can the government back home in terms of policies do to attract these scholars to also add or integrate their ideas in ensuring that the policies that will be implemented are tailored towards the development of the country that will maintain and retain our human capital?
Yes, thank you very much. As you know, we have the human capital. However, the effective government has failed to connect and link with human capital. However, we give you administration, you please, and we are willing as scholars and professionals to work to see how best we can contribute meaningfully to the development of our others.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Dankwa. So Professor Joseph Dankwa is one of the patrons of the Ghanaian Student Society here at the University of Bradford, and they are from the Ghana Scholarly Society here in the UK, and they have always fronted the development of Ghana, coming out with research papers to also influence policies in the country. So from here at the University of Bradford, we say Ayiko to all Ghanaians as we celebrate this wonderful 68th birthday. I wish you all the best. Ever find a team.
came to stand by you, and a happy Independence Day to you and all the Ghanaians who watch us across the world. Now, moving on, celebrating its historic role as the first sub-Saharan African country to attain independence from colonial rule, Ghana is 68 years old today. As the nation reflects on this journey, Godson de Graaf-Tapia gauged the perspectives of citizens and a political historian on the country's pursuit of a stronger democratic future.
March 6, 1957 marks a focal moment in Ghana's history and the wider narrative of African freedom. As the first nation in sub-Saharan Africa to gain independence from colonial rule, Ghana ignited a wave of hope and determination that swiftly spread across the continent. As the country commemorates 68 years of sovereignty, citizens pay tribute to the courageous leaders and visionaries who fought tirelessly for freedom and self-governance.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever.
This anniversary serves as a stark reminder of the resilience of the Ghanaian people and their steadfast dedication to building a democratic society. Over the decades, Ghana has established itself through its rich cultural heritage, economic growth, and an active role in regional and global affairs. Some Ghanaians shared their perspectives on the journey towards independence and development thus far.
Independence, South Africa for most of Fonase chain. Do it almost a Friday, but almost
since they won Ghana independence now up to date, number one of my society to media because the number one my society.
That's no dear. Nay, Sisian to cry, you want to say, yeah, bye. And yes, sir, made a madam check a crown, and yes, sir. Because Sisia Crano, you want to send a more back on the buy and a day. Nanky and yes, by no crowd is Sisia dear. And your plenty, yeah, found DNA, and a dear. I didn't check a crown and say, yes, so much found you in my dear. But Sisia was something for necessary moon.
As Ghanaians come together to celebrate, it is crucial to reflect on the nation's complexities, recognizing both achievements and challenges. Dr. Samuel Edujemfi is a political historian with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
What is closely linked to that is that even though some have said, some scholars in government and politics and all that have tried to argue that rather radical nationalism is what led to Ghana's independence, and that really took effect from the 1945. But I say no. Before the First World War, the interwar period, the League of Nations, and up to 1945, after the Second World War, the formation of the UN and all that, the region called Gold Coast had strong African scholars. It had also had several youth movements, if you like, right, which was pushing for such independence.
From ancient empires to modern democracy, Ghana's journey is a testament to the strength and determination of its citizens in the striving for a brighter future. From Kumasi, Godson de Graaf-Tapia's report for Joy News.
Land of freedom, everybody talk. And I'll take you across the country to gauge how persons as well or citizens celebrated today. And I'll take you up north. Martina Buguri joins us from the northern region. Martina, what happened in the northern region and what is still happening in the northern region?
So for the northern region, the day was celebrated in less than 2 hours because of the very high temperatures the region has currently. And so by 9, we started around 9, and by some few minutes to 11, everything was done. There were poetry, recital, drama, message to the President of the Republic, and some quiz among students. I must say that people have been reacting to the day, something that as a country, it's about time we unite as one people, begin to look at how we can develop the country and the region for that matter, than be looking at our individual interests. Some also think that, look, we should have remained under the colonial regimes. They would have developed better than we are doing now. some also believe that the country has lots of potentials that we can move forward as a nation to develop their country. Now, the Northern Regional Minister who addressed the gathering also called for a united region to help develop the area. He says we still have challenges of unemployment, economic hardship. We also have issues of quality education to address. And so he's calling for a united region to be able to develop the region.
Well, Martina, but for you, did you identify any difference as to last year's celebration and this year's celebration?
Yes, lots of differences. For instance, this year, the people that came all had places to sit. We didn't have people standing the coaches stand. And normally when people do that, last year, for instance, or 2 years ago, for instance, we had people collapse, up to 40 people collapsing because of the temperatures, especially around this time. We are having about 40 degrees, 41 degrees, so it's very hot. And so this time, yes, it was more comfortable sitting under the shade and watching. The numbers were not too big, and then everybody was comfortable. The program itself was very short so that people can go back home and relax.
Well, Martina, thank you, and happy Independence Day to you as well, and all of our viewers in the northern
and many happy returns.
Right, I'll take you to northeast, where Anna Sabit, Bono East, where Anna Sabit is on standby. Anna, what happened in Bono East region?
Yes, here as well, the event was entirely short in the space of 2 hours, between a few minutes to 10. The event started, and then by 11:30. Everything is over. In fact, like Martina rightly said, the attendance here was, not as huge as it has been over the years. Probably people were thinking, because there was an announcement that there wouldn't be an Independence Day celebration earlier, as government announced at the Independence Square. People thought it is going to, be across the country. So it was fully an event of school children and then a few members of the general public who showed up to celebrate Ghana's Independence Day. In fact, the entire parade was for students, some few cadets, groups from the various senior high schools in the area, and then some basic schools as well did the marching. Not even a single security team, comparison of the police, military, and fire. None of them marched today. What stood out has to do with one young man by the name of Anif, who decided to do the painting of Ghana's first president, Dr. KONONGO, in the heart of the exercise. So from the start to the end, he was done painting Dr. KONONGO, and he had to present it to the authorities. And it was beautiful, it was colorful. So that is one of the unique things that we saw here in the Techiman metropolitan area.
Thank you so much, Anna Sabit, for bringing us reports from the Bono East region. I'll take you to the Upper West region, where Rafiq Salam is on standby. Rafiq, what happened in the Upper West region?
In the Upper West region, to be precise, in the one municipality, the one municipal assembly engaged in a cleanup exercise. Remember, the one municipality, somewhere around 1987, was voted as the cleanest city in the country. But the municipality is now a failed schedule of itself. And so they have decided to embark on a cleanup exercise in some major suburbs in the one municipality, notable among them Dondoli, Jemberi, Kamale, and then also Mao. So this event, you have a lot of personnel from the Ghana Armed Forces, the Ghana Police Service, Ghana National Fire Service, and also the Ghana Prison Service are taking part in this exercise. And then they were joined by some pupils from basic schools in the one municipality. So it's really an exercise, though the turnout was not all that encouraging, but according to the officials from the one municipal assembly, I believe that they are saying that they have been able to at least clean the city, because this is something that is having a lot of toll on their internal generator funds. So if they are able to clean the city, the pump in the city, at least it will go a long way in trying to reduce the amount of money used on the collection of garbage.
Right, Rafiq, that must be some holiday for people in the Upper West region. But thank you so much for bringing us that report. And to you as well, a happy Independence Day to you.
Thank you very much.
Well,
very grateful.
Moving away, well, sadly, amid all of the celebration, 3 people have been confirmed dead and several others injured following a series of explosions and a fire outbreak at Odumase near Konongo in the Asante Central Municipality of the Ashanti region. Now, the explosions, which occurred at shops dealing in mining explosives, caused widespread destruction, leaving buildings damaged and emergency responders struggling to contain the situation. Among the deceased is a man identified only as Minta, who was burned in the inferno, and a woman known as Akos, who suffered a fatal head injury while fleeing, and another victim impacted by the blast. 2 firefighters, however, are among those injured, with one collapsed after his fire tender was caught in the explosion. The cause of the incident remains quite unclear, but investigations are underway as emergency services continue to rescue efforts.
Ene baba fu bi ne eti ba bi ne eti sa asem pampan bi ba na boy di mirika oba ya no se oh bebi ya na sister na oton ya ma no ye friend na oho ye de ehye ntina nsuo no so aye yi kakra to de kakra oho na edi mirika se ye ba be enti fire service fo no e ba ye na nya confidence se omu ba be dum ene ye nyina ye de ye ba ho fire service ni beduru ho no na me de na me gina omo nchen pe ana me hu se omo park ye na omo sanko wo machi na eja no anu aye din ana omo ko omo achi na omo ye wa madwin se omo kwa yi omo hose no e de aba because baby na omo wo na de na ho no omo ka so omo yi a aben wo mo to omo ko wo mo chi no within seconds na exploration here de e bae Ejije kasi ejije be 3 times. First one boom na ahanyina ye dum ahanyina ye mfuturo nko a me de na me ben ho eto ye no mom de experience kakra me ya ni nyina ne se bibi se si a eto ye se ope baby ye de ekotale enti me nya baby ekotale ye na because no ho nyina ye tuma ye se metale ho a na che se mfuturo no ekokakra ansa na ma de ma firi ho nti mfuturo ni ye yina na me firi ho na second one na sa ye de eto ye na no so me pe baby tale ye nti 3 times ni nyina na de na me ben ho ansa no fire service for no de driver no kra de ye de no ko hospital omo cars no glasses ni nyina because no more close pa ni mu aye ye dia masalachi wo ye ohwa na no mo nti ze say no ana boy ba akoso na adu so ba betwa ono so ne nsa ayi afuru ho ne nsa ni mienu nyina ayi ono de so ayi de egwagu na fire services ni no so ne ono so mo de no ko hospital oh boys bebri ye de omo ye bebri ko hospital na enu ade na nya asanketwa wo a hwe fie we mu a uwia wo pa akotwa na hwe ba bia amanfo mu kra no ade de na nya asanketwa kula enye so ize media meni enye so obi na e ka kire me media na migina kwa first one to ye ne de atuwo mani mu ankasa wo hwe me nsa ho ne me na ho nyina hwe me na ho a ba bia aye nti me de na media migina kwa ankasa na ade ne ye de esi nipa ba ko
nipa sen na ashi
wono ade ne siye no na odi mirika se okowura ni dem anu tu suahu woni mi se bia fire service for no be ye de e baba bidumu no suahu enti wono ko share ni dem anu tu wono de wa ye de wa ye nyame de wono de wa hye drobu wa hye ni dum pekura wu washi ankasa ni dum pekura uko edem ho a wu se dum pebia e de washi
nipa hye be se
nipa hye de boy ba ko pena me de menim se yesi washi ana bra yi ka se oba so ye de e ka ho swati enough from sabla.
Well, that looks quite serious, but my colleague Erastus Asari-Donko, who's been following this sad incident, will join us and give us updates. Erastus, reiterate exactly the number of persons that we've lost. We've been telling our viewers, but from our video, he's been reporting different numbers. If you tell us exactly what's the current situation now.
Well, so I can tell you that 6 people were admitted to the KONONGO government hospital, and 1 of them have died. 5 are currently responding to treatment at the hospital, including husband to the owner of the shop itself, who is also on admission with sharpness of metals which penetrated his body when the first explosion occurred. So that is what we know for now. We are also learning from the fire service that 5 people also sustained various degrees of injuries. Some have been treated and discharged. 1, who is the driver, who collapsed the is still alive.
Well, Erastus, a number of shops and persons who have been displaced?
Well, I wouldn't say displaced, but a number of houses have their roofs ripped off. Many of them have their roofs caving in. Some are also trying to get roofing sheets to retouch their houses as well. So quite a number of people who have their domestic items displayed outside, who are trying to fix their rooms at the moment. I must say that looters have also taken advantage and stolen a number of personal belongings to those affected by the impact.
Right. At about what time did this incident come to your attention?
So the incident I learned happened around 6 a.m., but it got to our attention at 6 p.m. rather. It got my attention around 8 p.m. and we started gathering information from that time on. Let me say that the shop, as has been established now, was selling explosives, dynamite, guarantee equipment, pumps, water pumps, generators, and other things. And this is not the only shop that sells those items. There are quite a number of shops who also sell some of these explosives.
Right. Erastus, and again, do we know whether there are some sort of interventions so far?
I have not seen any intervention from any government quarters so far.
Okay.
All I have seen is the constituency chairman who was at the scene. I've also seen the NDTTC for Santiago Central, who was also at the scene as well, and other sympathizers who have been going to the scene. I've also learned that the police have invited the owner of the shop, a lady, to the police station for questioning.
Right. Thank you so much, Erastus, for bringing us that report. Now, we'll engage ADO 1 Alex Kingnati. He speaks for the Ghana National Fire Service. And thank you for joining us. What more have you been finding after this development? If I have Alex Kingnati, I would have details of how. Right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Alex, what a way to celebrate Independence Day today. I know that some of your men also have been affected, but what's your report?
Well, it's from what we've gathered, 5 of our officers were injured in the as a result of the explosion. Again, there was the component where some of the residents mistook or thought that our personnel were leaving the scene. So we decided to attack and pelt them with stones, thereby damaging the fire tender along the line. Again, from what we have is that 3 people died and over 30 buildings affected, and then about 8 shops also affected as a result of this incident.
Right, but so what number of persons have lost their life? Erastus is giving us some numbers, but from your side, what numbers of persons have we lost? So
the official briefing I've received indicates that 3 people have lost their lives, and then quite an unspecified number of people are injured. Amongst them was the driver of our fire tender, who, as a result of the explosion, collapsed and had to rush to the hospital. So it was when we had to call for another driver to come in and he was repositioning the fire tender in order to fight a fire. That's when the attacks started. We had called for reinforcement from our station at Ejiso to come and complement the efforts of the people at Konongo. But as a result of the attack, we had to hold off the fire tender from Ejiso and then keep personnel rather on the ground to help. And the fortunate thing was that the rain, it was raining, so the rain was what helped to keep the situation under control. But then again, the incident also happened 60 meters away from a gas filling station. So measures had to be put in place to make sure that the fire does not spread to the gas filling station. So if it had spread, they would have recorded much more casualties than we have. But we had to do our best to try and help salvage the situation.
Well, Alex, again, I want to find out that, so the concerns that these explosions started by shops that are selling explosives, mining explosives, what does that mean?
Yes, so it's confirmed that the shop, it looks like Konongo, that area is known for mining, or in this case, illegal mining. And so when in this illegal mining, some of them resort to using explosives. And these explosives, once they come into contact with any heat source, has the capability of exploding. And that is what we saw. Even from the briefing I got, one of the residents had initially approached our officers to try and keep a distance. Then the explosion happened and this person even lost his hands. So yes, it was explosives that was used for mining activities that was involved in the fire.
Before I let you go, what are the measures, the safety measures that you have put in place?
So as a service, our men are on the ground, ensuring that the area is cordoned off. Again, making sure that there is no other explosives or unexploded explosives that are lying around to be able to start any danger. Our officers will be doing cooling to make sure that there is no reignition of the fire. And so we'll be on standby to make sure that we provide cover to protect the lives that are left.
Right. Thank you so much, ADO1 Alex Kinati, for bringing us updates. You're watching the holiday edition of News Today with me, Mbefa Akosia Aditi. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, yours truly, Pius Kojobaka, brings you business.
Hello, good afternoon to you and a warm welcome to the holiday edition of the Business News on Joy News Today with me, Pius Kojobaka. In the spirit of independence, there are concerns that the country may not have achieved real economic freedom despite celebrating 68 years of political independence. The following business desk has more. Based on our engagement with some economists, they have first raised concerns about the fact that Ghana is still exporting its commodities in raw state. Over the years, Ghana has struggled to add value to some of its traditional exports like cocoa. This is due to the fact that after 68 years of independence, the prices of these commodities like gold and cocoa are still being decided by the buyers on the international market. Some have even argued that Ghana still has no say in the pricing of these commodities, despite the fact that, together with Ivory Coast, they command more than half of the cocoa market. This development often leaves the Ghanaian economy with some serious shocks from price volatility. The development has also negatively impacted on the Ghana cedi and even the livelihood of some Ghanaians. Also, some have highlighted the fact that the Ghanaian economy is tied to the policies from some of our development partners. Ghana has been to the IMF about 17 times, and some analysts have even projected that this will not be the last time that Ghana will go to the fund for support. Several economic programs and policies that have been implemented by successive governments have not been able to help build a resilient economy against external shocks. The previous administration has, for instance, argued that the current crisis that the country went through was due to COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukraine war. But should we put the blame on the political managers of the economy, or Ghanaians have not pushed the march when achieving that real economic independence that has eluded over the years? But With the new administration's plan to reset the economy, some have maintained that it could offer us a new opportunity to kickstart the process where Ghana will achieve real economic and finance freedom to give some meaning to the political independence that we are celebrating today.
Financial economist Professor Lord Mensah has expressed concerns about the variations with the actual cost of the new Bank of Ghana headquarters, welcoming moves to conduct a value for money audit into the new building. His comments follows a revelation by the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiema, that cost of the building increased from $81 million to $261.8 million. But reacting to the issue, Professor Lord Mensah said that the central bank must come clear on the actual cost of the facility.
Well, when you look at project management and the payment to contractors, normally they are in phases. And I don't know the percentage of completion of the project to call for, more than, I think, 90% of the payment as we see from the numbers. So if it turns out that, the current state of the project is about 90% complete and then 90% of the payment has been done, that is okay. But if we have a structure which, let's be honest, when you look at, a big structure like that, don't look at just, the block work that is making up the structure. Usually the fittings even more than the block. So if the fittings has not come in, furnitures and then all those, security systems that needs to be put in place to befit, a central bank, building are not in place, and we've incurred, 230 million already, which it's left with about 31 million to be paid. Then it calls to question, because if you look at project, settlement, you look at it in phases, and the phase that will be completed should determine the amount of, the part of the cost that needs to be relayed to the contractor.
That's it for Business on Joy News today. The news continues after this break.
Welcome back to News Today with me, MFA Akosia Adeti. Now, residents of Agaveji have time immemorial endured the ravaging effects of coastal erosion caused by high waves. The majority of the community has all gone beneath the sea due to continuous erosion. This year's incident is said to be one of the most horrific ones, as it has caused great devastation within the last month, sandwiching the community between the sea and the lagoon. Fred Kwame Asari visited the community and has filed this report.
Evelyn Setu sits in her almost sinking compound, staring at the sea. One would imagine she was communicating with the sea to tone down and cease the destruction. 6 units of rooms in the household have been washed away by the sea within the last 7 days. Makafi Atai is also suffering from a similar predicament. She lost 10 units of rooms of the households her parents lived behind to the coastal erosions. She's one of the hardest hit residents in the Agaveji community. McAfee has been wondering where to pack out when the sea takes the last room of a household. As the waves get high, she's left with no option but to deroof 2 units of the room, prone to collapse before sunrise.
I fear that Kamala Senior, bro. The Fabu Bura Kamala Senior. Aya li Grammy Mumloma, Aboma Vea, Yamiamu Catala, Fama, Mimara, Mafia for me, no Monsieur Coroma, a home of Amani, Gaganaza, Doma, 10 million for my dollar. A lava chapel from Sanavalo hog beer, a hokata shakena, Dama 10 logo.
The Denuketa Highway is gradually becoming the shoreline as the sea keeps clearing walls in its way. the Center for Coordinating the Disaster have so far collated data on about 300 residents who have been affected by the erosion. Eben Asa is the assembly member for the Agaveji electoral area.
The tidal wave washed away 51 houses so far, and then 236 were displaced so far. And then the list that we had yesterday, adding up to the displaced list, we are hitting to 300 people.
Victims who have completely lost their homes are preparing makeshift structures with the remnants of their buildings. They relied on wood, coconut and palm fronds to erect structures at locations they identified to be safe. Keeps coming in the vicinities of the structures put up across the roads. This is mostly experienced in the evening and at dawn.
Well, the president will be visiting a little later today the people of Agaveji in the Volta region. Do stay with us here on Joy News. We'll bring you all the details that would unfold. But quickly before we go and wrap up the bulletin, let me take you to the front court of Joy FM here in Kokomlimle, where the Fufu Party, Adum Fufu Party is happening, and hopefully you're not missing out. My colleague Jennifer August is on standby. Jennifer, have you had your bowl of fufu yet? Well, on your screens now are persons who have left.
Madam, how do you see the events today? Events, fine. Your first time, and I want to the first time I'm a Japanese. Quite no one. Come on, Papa. Next year, let's have a do. Madam, but we chase me, Jimmy. I want Joe TV. Me, Jimmy for back. Madam, me who do for the camera. What baby done away of it? Where am I first time? My name is sister. And nice. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so as you can see, the people are really enjoying their meal. They say that the fufu is very delicious, the soup is very tasty, and they like how the food is going. So, program Okay. So as you can see, we are where the soup is being prepared.
Akoko nkwan wo ha, aponche nkwan, tilapia nkwan, ebunu with dry fish.
Oh, nice. Mitibonse kokama pa, kokam. Na nambe na wo ho.
Aponche wo ho, aponche nam wo ho, akoko nkwan wo ho, dry fish wo ho. Tilapia wo ho. And cotton kitten me nyina afa fremu wo ho.
2 fingers. Thank you very much. Okay, so there is sliced soup.
Be a Ghanaian, and I'll show you a big bowl of fufu with aponkinam. How to celebrate the Independence Day here with the Adum Fufu Party. You haven't missed out, but that'll be all for today on the news today with me, MFA Akosia Adeti. Have yourself a happy holiday. For more news, though, do log on to myjoyonline.com.